It's party time, my golf story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers. And the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com. Now here's your host, Kevin Walsh.
Hey, welcome to the program. We got a good one for you. We have Jeff Page. He is the head coach of the men's and women's golf team at Babson College, which is in suburban Boston. Babson College is the quintessential New England higher learning institution. It is known as the Entrepreneur School, has a great golf program, and the guy that's leading the way has had a life in golf, and he's fascinating. He's a golfer's golfer. He's a friend of mine. I've caddied for him before. I've played golf with him. Just fascinating, Jeff is. Couple of things. I want to timestamp this for a couple of reasons. We're recording on Wednesday, April the 10th. Tomorrow, April 11th, starts Masters Week, my favorite week, the time of the year, because it almost feels like a rebirth. It feels like the start of the golf season, even though I live in Florida and the golf season is year round. For a lot of people in colder climates, it really marks the beginning of something. This recording with Jeff Page, the coach at Babson College, golf coach there, is going to air the week of April 15th. I want to call your attention to another golf tournament, which is happening in my backyard. It's the Lecom Suncoast Classic. It's a Corn Ferry Tour regular stop at my home club, Lakewood National Golf Club. And so if you want to see the stars of tomorrow, come out and visit us at that time. And if real estate happens to be in your mix, if you're looking to purchase a home at a golf course, or if you already live at one and you want to sell it, there's nobody better than the real estate team of Vince Visicaro and Gene Walsh from Fine Properties in the greater Sarasota area. Check them out at suncoastdreams.com, or you can call them at 941-220-4000. And of course, a big thanks to Party Drinks, the title sponsor of It's Party Time, my golf story. If you're looking for an alternative to beer or some of the tired, crappy seltzers, look, at some point we got to stop pretending High Noon tastes good. If you think High Noon tastes good, you probably think yogurt tastes good. And we all know both don't. There's something better. It is Party, for golfers by golfers, and it makes all the difference. All right. So that's just the headlines. That's just the starter of things. Let's bring Jeff Page on board. Hey, man, I am so glad to talk to you. I got to tell you something. I don't think I've told you this before, but I don't know if I know anybody that I think loves golf as much as you do, because whenever I see you, you always have a smile on your face. It always seems like there's no place you'd rather be than at the golf course. Am I onto something?
You are dead right on that. I love golf. Loved golf since I was 8 years old. Had the privilege of playing with my dad and my brother growing up. And I don't know what I would do if I didn't have golf in my life. It's just that important and that much fun. I love it.
I think I feel exactly the same way. And I think a lot of our viewers and listeners feel the same way too. It's not just a game that we play. It's a big part of who we are. Now, I got to tell another story. So I kind of interfered with your round of golf today because I was seeing if you wanted to maybe move the podcast up a little. Yeah. But you were on the 18th hole and you actually took the text. Did I mess you up? What was going on?
Well, we had practice for we had basically a playoff for the fifth spot. We're going to 10 this weekend. And, we're trying to figure out who the fifth guy is going to be with my assistant coach. So we had a playoff between four guys, and we're coming up the 18th hole. And it was close. I mean, they all played well, and like it was low, was by one shot over second and two shots over third and fourth. And it was exciting. So, but saw your text, and I know it was a big night to be talking to tonight. So I wanted to take it, but it was fun watching them play right down to the end. I just enjoy it, and they're a lot of fun to be around.
I want to get into the coaching thing because it's my guess that for you, having been in the game for so long, you talked about being 8 years old, and I want to go back to the old neighborhood. I want to know what it was like growing up close to Wellesley Country Club. It's practically in your backyard. But just this coaching thing, do you feel like it's a rebirth of your golf life?
Oh, by far. I mean, it just, I always thought about maybe I would do something like that. But when the opportunity kind of came unexpectedly 12 years ago, I just said, I got to take this while I can, because it's something that I coached when I was working at the bank and the mortgage department. I had 20 people working under me. I always liked helping the younger people. And to have this opportunity is just, they pay me for it. Hard to believe, but I mean, I do it for nothing. That's how much I love doing it, and just being around the guys and interacting with them, and I get along with them. And occasionally I can take them out in the course and beat them once in a while. They hit it a mile by me, but it's the number of shots into the hole, as you know. So, but it's something that. At my age, 66, it's a second career of something that's made me 20 years younger. Love it.
I'm looking over your left shoulder, and my eyes are drawn to a Masters flag. Actually, the whole room. Can we do where are you, first of all?
This is my man cave. That flag, Augusta flag, is signed by Arnold Palmer, and so that is obviously something that I really cherish. Right next to that, I'll move my damn head, is the medalist I got for the U.S. Seniors qualifying last year. So that's important. And then over on my right shoulder is the MGA, the Mass Golf Association, has a professional photographer, and he comes out to all the events and takes pictures and stuff. So anything better than I could do. So it's that's one of me playing in, I think, the Mass Seniors some years ago and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. And then next to the Masters flag, I have two big jars of logo balls from different colleges and around the New England, the South. So the guys on the team know that I collect them, and so every week or so they'll be giving me balls that they found in the woods from the other team. So I got a couple of big things of that, and it's really kind of pretty good. I'll scan over here.
Oh yeah,
flag up there from Country Club. I got wooden shafts clubs over there that. Older, and I just there's an old picture of Wellesley over on that side of the wall, Quinnipiac, All-American plaques and stuff. So it's golf is a big part of my life, as you can tell, but it's a lot of fun, and I don't know what I would do if I didn't have tournaments coming up to play in. I mean, I enjoy prepping for them, getting ready for them, and gives me something to shoot for, to be honest with you. It's great.
I think one of the keys to life is you always have to have a forward point. You have to have something to look forward to. And with golf, you have dates on the calendar that you just mentioned, but there's always something that we could be working on. We're always tinkering. I mean, Tiger Woods in his prime he dismantled his swing after he had arguably the greatest year of all time because he thought he could get better. So yeah, I get it. Take me back to your childhood. What street did you grow up on? Give us like a geographical reference and what life was like. Let me feel like I was there with you and maybe playing some kind of pickup ball on your front lawn.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. If someone knows the area, you got Wellesley Country Club. At the time, 7 holes were across the street from the clubhouse. The Babson College is right next to it. I was basically a driver and a wedge from the 6th hole. At that time, it was the 12th hole at Wellesley. And my brother and I would go up and sneak on those holes as kids in the afternoon after school. And then when my dad came home, he'd take us out there and play, and we'd have these matches, and we'd be there until you couldn't see anymore. It was great. And then we just would walk home. It was a lot of fun. And, being out there with my dad and my brother doing it. And it was just, great to do it. we used to play a game on the last green, putting game, all the time. And, my dad would usually win. And, my brother and I would try to be beating him. And when we finally did, it was always exciting that we beat my dad. Because, he was probably got down to about a 3 handicap in his heyday. Never a long hitter, but very straight, very good around the greens. And, we grew up seeing that and wanted to be just like Dad.
Jeff Page, head coach of the men's and women's golf programs at Babson College, is our guest today. Big thanks to Party Drinks, the title sponsor. If you're looking for an alternative to beer, High Noon, and the hard seltzers, then Party is for you. And also big thanks to the real estate golf pros, Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro, suncoastdreams.com, 941-220-4000. And the week that this is airing, the week of April 18th through 21st, the Korn Ferry Tour is in town at Lakewood National Golf Club. 2 Arnold Palmer designed golf courses, a chance to see the great players of tomorrow, PGA Tour, or wherever they're taking their golf games. Jeff, so take me back to, so you were talking about your childhood, and I was thinking of mine at the time, playing until it was dark. I remember when I was young, I played so much golf almost in the dark or as the sun was going down, and it didn't seem to bother me. Now, as I'm older and I'm chasing the sun's going down, I find myself my vision isn't quite the same. Is that your story as well?
Yeah, for sure. When we were younger, it'd be dark and you think, oh, we can still play. And we probably did. But nowadays it's, the eyes are going, I wear these. It's just, it's difficult to see, but it's still for me, the best time to play golf was like from 5 to 8, either after work or after school or something like that. It was just such a great time. And, the nice thing too is that, even if you weren't out if you're just playing yourself, you play the course. You're trying to beat the course when you're out there, and you can't get a better experience when you're out playing golf.
Yeah, it just feels like you're connecting with nature and you're connecting with yourself, and it's just me time. I have no problem playing alone. In fact, I think I sometimes get more immersed in it, because you don't have the social obligations, but playing with friends is fantastic as well. Yeah. You were a caddy at some point. Do you take me back then? Do you remember your first loop and how much you were paid?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I was thinking about that today. I probably caddied I was 8 years old. We had just moved up here from New Haven, and my dad just got in as a member, but I went up caddying. The best job I have, as you've been doing it for years too and love it. But I had this friend of my dad's caddying for him singles. I made $3 for 18 holes. And back then, you probably remember, it wasn't these light ping bags or Sun Mountain bags. They were these big, heavy leather bags. The straps were falling apart, and we had to really lug it. And then like my dad, he'd probably have 20 balls in his bag. I used to get so mad if I ever carried his bag, but I remember carrying for 18 holes. And I do remember like a couple of times later caddying for somebody that was, again, a friend of my father, just at the club, and he hit a shot. I will never forget it. On 17, he hit in the woods, and I'm just like 8 years old and stuff. And I said under my breath, but loud enough for him to hear, "In the woods again?" He started laughing and told my dad later, because, he'd been hitting in the woods. I was used to my dad hitting it right down the middle, and didn't realize that, there's other people out there that are not very good. And it was just a lot of fun. But the best job I've ever had in my life is caddying up at Wellesley Country Club. I was a caddy master up there when working for the late Les Bond, which he was the pro there, and just a great guy, and loved working for him, and took my first lessons from him.
So $3 back then, it doesn't seem like much, but $3 could get you somewhere back then. Yeah. And I would assume that, like, among your friends, you probably had more cash in your pocket than they did, because you had the steady cash flow of caddying, right?
That was a joke, because I was the richest 8-year-old in the neighborhood, because none of the other kids were caddying. And if they were doing a a newspaper route or something. They were getting 50 cents or something. And I was coming home on a weekend, caddying maybe twice and maybe a third time with $10. And, I was pretty wealthy back then. Yeah.
My friends, they accused me of never having a real job, and they were doing the usual odd jobs that teenagers would do, flipping burgers, just doing whatever. But they thought because they were getting a paycheck that was somehow a real job. But I had all the flexibility in the world, and I had quite a bit of money. I never had to bum money from my parents. I had money to go out on dates. It was fantastic. And let's talk about the caddy experience, because for me, I loved it. I felt like it was paid exercise. It was access to play golf at a place that maybe I couldn't play before. And it was just a big, it put me around people of clout. I actually heard adults and adult conversations at a very young age, which sometimes included colorful language. I would hear about their businesses, about their relationships and everything. Did you have a similar one?
Yeah, I mean, you learned how to act with adults when you're 10, 11, 12 years old. I mean, that's so hard to find, especially nowadays. But back then, you learn to act in front of adults. You learn to, talk to them and be respectful to them and so forth. And, there's some key people that, like, I got a job, this is going way back when, at State Street Bank, because I caddied for the president of the bank. And he liked me, and I was in sales, and he said, you do well over at State Street. Why don't you come over? And next thing you know, I got a job. But it wasn't why I was doing it, but it just the relationship I have, forged with people to this day. That same person, Peter Madden, who was president of State Street Bank, he lives in Florida. I talk to him regularly. He's a Babson alum and, a great guy. And it just, people like that, it was just, a lot of fun. But you learned how to, act in front of adults.
No doubt about it. You take the words out of my mouth there, because I think when I graduated from college, just talking to older people, listening is as important as it is talking to them. It prepared me for a life in broadcasting. I just felt like I'm just repeating some of what I did before. And so I was so thankful for that. Yeah. The caddy program at Wellesley Country Club, it has been in existence for 100 plus years. And then I came like crashing through the ceiling when I was like 40 years old. Did I add to the experience, or did I mess it all up?
No, you know what? It was great because, the younger guys would look up to you. Almost like a coach almost, you have the teenagers or the 12-year-olds looking up and because you knew what you were doing, trying to teach the younger guys. So, no, I think if anything, it was kind of, we felt like we had a celebrity, we go home tonight and go watch Kevin on the 6:00 news, do the sports report. He just caddied for me, so it was, it was kind of fun. And it's something that I would do it today if I had the time, because I actually do occasionally last summer caddy for some of the guys that were either on the team a few years ago that are playing in the state amateur or the state open and stuff like that. And I just love it. And, it's nice to interact with those, I call them kids, but they're adults now. But, it was fun. But, you kind of brought some, not clout, some, just responsibility of the job that I think people looked up to you. And like I said, it was fun seeing you 6 hours later on the news.
I just really enjoyed my time there, and that's why I'm wearing the Wellesley Country Club shirt right now, just to honor the people that were so good to me there. It gave me access to the golf course, and just knew it was a side hustle, but I got something out of it, and hopefully they did as well. And there's nobody better than the existing caddy master there and the manager of outside services, Frankie Cartaglia. I mean, everybody knows Frankie.
He is the best.
He's just a whirl of energy, and he's the straw that stirs the drink over there. So over your shoulder, we talked about this earlier. You talked about the signed flag from Arnold Palmer. Do you have an Arnold story?
Yeah, actually, he came to Wellesley Country Club. I was, I think, 17 at the time. He did exhibition. I think he was there for the We Met fundraiser tournament that we had going on that day. And so what he first did is he did a clinic, and we had mowed down a little area by it's now the 10th tee. It was the first tee at the time, the old clubhouse. But he came and did a clinic, and then he went out and played basically one hole with each group. And I was lucky enough to be in one of the groups. So I'll never forget it. It was, I got to talk to him on the 13th tee. It was the fourth hole at the time, but it was a 13th tee now. And, he
what
hit a
was
drive.
that like? Hey, stop for a second. So you're talking to him. What's that like?
It was, it's like talking to your idol. It's, you're almost like speechless. You're trying not to sound like an idiot and try to think of what can I ask him? This is an opportunity like that to shake his hand and have him looking you right in the eye and just listen to him talk and stuff. It was great. I could find it around here somewhere. I probably still have a picture of him standing with me and on that tee, and my long hair, and it's just.
Whoa! Wait a minute! You had long hair?
Oh, come on! I was in the 70s. Yeah. I had long hair. It was all over the place. Now look at me. It's Jesus. But it was. It was like, somebody that you had idolized for years, watched on TV, watched at the Masters and things like that. To have him in person. I mean, I can't tell you how exciting it was. I can still remember it today, watching him hitting shots in the exhibition, saying what he was going to do. And it was just, I can't tell you how much fun it was.
But tell me this, that aside, I get that there's this aura about him. Did he just seem kind of like a regular person, and that he was cool and that he could connect with people?
Definitely. He would talk with you, and he did not come across as like, he's a step above you or just, the celebrity that he was. He was, he was like, talking to my Uncle Arnie. I mean, it was so great to talk to and listen to you and really kind of, like he always said, like people say, he looked me right in the eye. He was looking right at me. Well, he does that. And, he shook your hand. He wanted to know I felt like he wanted to know all about me. I mean, that's how I felt from meeting him. And it was only probably a 10-minute meeting.
But isn't that incredible how he just connects with people? I think that aside from everything else, that was his gift to everybody. I interviewed him twice, once at Pebble Beach, another time on a satellite interview. And he made me feel like a somebody. And believe me, I don't know if I'm anybody now, but I was a nobody back then. Yeah. But he listened really attentively. He seemed to care about my questions. And he actually turned I'm going to show you. He turned his ear. So like he was in his 70s. This was 24 years ago at Pebble Beach, and he was hard of hearing. He saddled up so close to me, he was practically standing on my shoes and cocking his ear. So I was talking right into his ear. And as I'm doing it, I'm having thoughts in my head. I'm like, I can't believe I'm talking into Arnold Palmer's ear. And I couldn't believe how hairy his ears were too. But that's like after I was done with him, I floated away. And my buddy who I gave him my camera, he took pictures. He said, that guy was so cool. He's like, I could tell you were really nervous, and then I calmed down because Arnold put me at ease. All right, Jeff Page is the head coach of the men's and women's.
Exactly, he made you feel at ease.
I know. It was like, I just felt like I was the center of his universe at that time. And I'll never forget. I remember it. Well, listen to you and the detail that you're giving me. It's like everybody remembers Arnold. Jeff, tell me about coaching. You've coached the men for several years, and you just added the women to your job. Is it the same, or are there some obvious differences between coaching men and women?
Yeah. It's what's that line? Men are from Venus, whatever that line is. But I've been doing the men for 12 years, and we just last fall started the women, and it is like day and night. The men are, cocky. They're, razzing each other, razzing me, the assistant coach. They're just, doing a lot of that. The women are very respectful. They're shy. They're quiet. They already noticed coming out of their shell a little bit more this semester than last semester. They're playing a little bit better. And so, but they're just, it's just a different world. Now, having 4 daughters growing up, it was with them, I feel like I've got a little bit of knowledge of how to be around, I don't say teenagers, but young adults. They're doing very well. We had a great tournament at Camp Lejeune last week, and it's just been very enjoyable for the first year we've had it. The tough part is, trying to, with the guys, what they're thinking. If they don't show it on their sleeve, they tell you. The women, you're always trying to figure that out, and you're trying to figure that out when you're on the course trying to coach them or calm them down or give them advice. They're more receptive, I would say, of advice of how to play the course. One of the things I bring to the team, men or women, is course management, and they're more receptive. And then the guys think they can pull off every shot in the world, which they can't, but they, so it is different in that way, but it's been enjoyable and a learning experience.
We had a little conversation on the phone as you were going to Camp Lejeune, with your team. And I know you were in the team van. I could hear a lot of commotion. You were asking for directions, and it reminded me of being in the team van when I played college golf at Purdue. Yeah. There was a lot going on. What's going on in the van behind you as you're rolling down the road trying to get to wherever you got to go?
Hopefully my wife doesn't hear this thing right away, but it's, a couple of times at Camp Lejeune one, I went through a stop sign, like, coach, stop sign, it's like, and luckily nobody was coming, and there was but we were rushing somewhere, and I wasn't paying attention to the noise in the background and everything. And so it's different. Back when you and I played, I don't know about you, but at Quinnipiac, I was driving my car to get to the tournament, or a bunch of us were in a van or something. And, it was totally different. Now it's more organized. I always have one of them as my co-pilot, trying to make sure I don't screw things up. But, you hear a lot of interesting things in the back of the van. So that's, and a lot of times once they feel comfortable with me sitting there, they don't even think I'm even there. So, you're hearing stuff that probably I don't need to hear, but it's enjoyable to hear them, talking about school or this professor or that professor or how they're doing and stuff like that. But, the guys will be in the back, basically pounding their chest of, how great they are. And I pulled off this shot, or I did that. The women, once they get in the van after playing, they just like, yeah, okay, we had a good day. Let's go get something to eat, and there's no bragging. There's no, trying to one up the other. So it's different in that way. That's probably the biggest difference.
Do you feel like you fit in, or do you feel like an old square with them?
Most of the time I feel like I fit in. They're very good about, making me feel part of the team. Like I said, on the women's side, they, maybe looking up to me is not the right thing, but they'll listen to me and my advice and stuff like that. On the guys' side, I feel like I'm one of the guys sometimes. I mean, I'll give it right back to them, and so they, I'll razz them and give them zingers and so forth. So it's like being, maybe like I would say their father, but older brother, or I could, give them a little crap back. So, but I do feel like a father figure, both the men and the women. I feel like I'm watching my kids, and when they hit a bad shot or they miss a putt or something, it hurts me inside, just like one of your kids doing it. And so that's interesting. And I try to, let it go and say, hey, it's only golf and stuff, but I wanted to see them do so well. That's the problem.
Jeff Page, the head coach at Babson College men's and women's golf team, is our guest today. Big thanks to Parti Drinks for sponsoring this. If you are looking for an alternative to the tired stuff on golf courses, then Parti is a drink for you, for golfers, by golfers. And a big thanks to the Golf Pro real estate team of Vince Visicaro and Gene Walsh from suncoastdreams.com. Fine properties, greater Sarasota area. And hey, if you're not doing anything between April 18th and April 21st, coming out to Lakewood National Golf Club, that's where they're headquartered. That is where the Lecom Suncoast Classic will be played at Lakewood National Golf Club on the Piper course. Jeff, let me take you back to your college days, Quinnipiac University, and you played hockey as well. Why Quinnipiac? And what were you better at, golf or hockey?
Definitely better at golf. I was a pretty good hockey player. And the funny thing is people watching this, Quinnipiac just lost last week to BC. They were the reigning national champions going into this year, which is great. So people say, "Oh, you played hockey at Quinnipiac." We were not very good back then. So this is some.
No, but what was that feeling like?
I got recruited by the hockey coach. What's that?
What was that feeling like to win a national championship?
Oh, I was so excited. I mean, I don't know if you saw the game, but they tied it up with like 2 minutes to play. This is when they won the national championship. And then, we were on one of our trips for the team and it was getting late. And I said, "Oh God, it's going to overtime. I hope this doesn't go long." And luckily I didn't get out of my seat because 10 seconds into the overtime, they score and they win. And I went nuts. It was great. So then the next day in the tournament, we were out at Skidmore. I'll never forget it. I had brought my Quinnipiac pullover so that if they won, I was not going to wear anything Babson. I was wearing Quinnipiac out on the course the next day. So I was very proud of my boys for pulling that off. But I went there for hockey and golf. Golf was what main reason why I went there. And, it was a lot of fun. I have some good friends that made during there that are still friends. Great thing about golf is that, I never find a bad person on the golf course. There's always a good quality of somebody when you're out there. You get to play with somebody 4 hours, you get to know them, and got some really good friends. But at Quinnipiac, going back to that, it was a lot of fun. We had some good tournaments, went to the nationals a couple of times at an individual, and enjoyed that level of playing. Played against some guys like Jim Hallett, who made it to the tour. He went to Bryant and got to play against him some, and it was a lot of fun.
Well, you've played good golf well into your 60s. You're a 19-time winner of the Wellesley Club Championship. How have you done it? I mean, you look like you're in great shape. You look like you just walked out of the gym at all times. Are you working out constantly, or are you one of those natural freaks with perfect metabolism?
I got a good metabolism. As you know, I don't know if you remember my dad. He is still alive, but he's not up the club much. But he was tall, slender. He could sit there and eat a bucket of ice cream and not put a pound on. And so luckily for me, I take after my dad, which is great. I do work out, a lot of stretching, because at 66, the body I get out of bed and I feel like I'm like awful. I can barely move. I got to stretch. But once I stretch and move around, I'm in pretty good shape. So I do a lot of that. I do a lot of walking. I don't like riding in the carts, playing golf. Even when watching the players, they got a cart for the coaches and stuff, but I like to be out there walking with them. So it's really just, stay in shape, staying, loose, stretching as much as possible. And I think that's why I've done so well over the years, is that I've kind of kept myself in shape to, I'm a version of Bernard Langer, of how he just keeps himself in shape. And it's the same idea. My golf game, luckily for me, I had a very good short game, and it is still pretty good today. So I've gone to the claw because the yips came back in my 50s and had to get away from the regular grip. But, I still have a pretty decent short game. But back in my heyday, my 20s and in college stuff, I remember playing at Wellesley I played with a couple members, and I ended up shooting my, probably my best round that I had there, 66. And the member afterwards, when we got in, he goes, God, you can get it up and down out of a locked station wagon. And I really thought that was a really nice compliment, that to have him say that. And, even today when I played 9 holes with a couple of the guys on the team, like got up and down out of the bunker, chipping, I can compete with them on that. And I feel like I can bring something to that to make their game better as well because of that.
A lot of different ways to get the ball in the hole, and a good chip can make up for just about anything. Same with the putting, and however you do it, however it looks with the claw or whatever. So 19 club championships. That might be a record. I'm not sure. We don't have a huge research staff here, but it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. When did you win your first one, and when did you win your last one?
Well, more importantly, it's over 5 decades. To me, that is just means more to me than the 19. First one was like 79. I was just in college. I think I was going into my senior year, and I won in 79. And then I think the last one I won was 2016, I think it was. And that there's been out of the 19, there's been some really fun ones where, like one time, Doc Kaminer, Mike Kaminer, probably very well, caddying for him. We had an epic finals, 36-hole finals. We went 40 holes. I basically wore him out on the fourth extra hole. And it was just, it was probably the most enjoyable match I've ever had. And Mike would say the same thing, even though he was on the losing side of it. But, he was, I think, 1 up with 2 to play. I remember winning 17. We had 18. He had a putt on the first extra hole. I literally was behind him, had my hat off, ready to congratulate him, and he missed the putt. Now, it wasn't like, that easy of a putt, but I figured the way he'd been playing, he was going to knock in this 4-footer, and that was it. He missed it, and I felt bad for him. But we went 3 more holes, and it was probably the most enjoyable match I've ever had.
I think your last club championship win in 2016, I was caddying for your opponent, Alex Stickenberger. And if I got it right, I think you eagled the 17th hole. And you both hit it on the green in 2, and it's like 550. It was into the wind, and you made an eagle putt, and he just missed it. So how's that for a trip?
Yeah, actually, that was the year Snick was and DJ Hines. Remember that name? Yeah, I don't know if you remember that, but I eagled which at the time now it was the 18th hole. Then eagled that to get into the playoff with Snick and DJ, and won it on the first playoff hole by birdieing the first hole. There's several things that take from that. One, I was older, a lot older than these guys, probably by 20 or 25 years. So that was kind of fun. But, I felt like, there was no age difference, meaning of just the way we were, talking back and forth, enjoying golf. So it wasn't, there was no age difference there. We were all 3 of us were out there just playing golf, just for the love of the game, as they say. And that's what's so much fun about it. As you can play with somebody 80 years old or 20 years old at different levels and have a great time. It's just, it's what other sport can you say you can do that?
Not many. Bocce. Golf is it. It's the game for a lifetime. Tell me about your wife. I don't think I've ever met her before. And does she understand how important golf is in your life, the time away for coaching and just for playing with your friends?
Yeah, she's not a golfer. She actually knows how to play golf, or had lessons when she was a teenager from her parents who were big golfers, but she got a bad back, but she just never got into it. But she knows how important it is for me, and she allows me to do it. She gets a little tired in the fall and the spring when I'm away every weekend for like 4 or 5 weeks and stuff, and she really enjoys when it's over. And payback for me is tough because I got to do all these things for her. But she understands how important it is, and and allows me to pursue my dream of being a golf coach and just playing golf and how much it means. So she's great about that. I will give her a lot for putting up with me.
How long will you coach?
Yeah, good question. Lisa, my wife, asked me that the other day, and I'm 66. I'll probably go at least till 70, and just then kind of evaluate it. If I still love it, I don't see why I would stop. It's but if it gets to be the only thing that is tough coaching at this level with the team where we travel is the travel. We came back from our tournament last weekend. I at the house at 2 a.m, and that may wear on me after a while and so forth. But if I still love it and the guys are fun, the women are fun, I want to keep doing it. I really want to. We came real close with the team I had on the men's side. We were ranked as high as 3 in the country, and if we kind of all put it, we could have done something and won a national championship. We had beat teams that were really good that year, and we just, we didn't do it. But I like level again. I'd like to get the women up to that level, and I think we can. I mean, it's a great product. Babson College, as you know, and many people that know of it, is a great tool for recruiting. If somebody wants to be in the business world and entrepreneurship or just a top level business school, they're going to want to come to Babson. So I feel we can have pretty good teams going forward.
Well, you've had pretty good teams so far, and I think a lot of that has your fingerprints all over it and your influence. You're a friend, which means you're mine. Anybody that plays golf is a friend of mine. I can tell how much you love it. I told you at the beginning, I'm not sure I know anybody that loves it as much as you, because you on your face, on your sleeve, I get it. And I appreciate you spending some time and telling us your golf story. That's what we do here on It's Party Time, My Golf Story. Can you come back sometime, Jeff?
Oh, I'd love to. Love to come back when we've won a national championship. How's that? That'd be kind of neat to talk about that. But yes, anytime. Kevin, I really appreciate the invite. And we had played last year down in Florida, and that was fun. And hopefully we get to do that next winter when I'm down there. So.
That's a deal. You win that national championship, work on that. I'll make the golf arrangements. That's the easy part.
There you go.
Right, so let's say goodbye. Jeff Page has been our guest. He's the head coach of the men's and women's golf programs at Babson. Big thanks to our title sponsor, Party Drinks. For a good golf alternative, Party is the drink for you. And a big thanks to the real estate pros, Vince Visicaro and Gene Walsh from Fine Properties in the greater Sarasota area. Hey, come on out to Lakewood National Golf Club the week of April 18th through the 21st. Check out the Corn Ferry Classic to see the stars of tomorrow, and check out some real estate. Gene and Vince can certainly help you out. Their number is 941-220-4000. For Jeff Page, I'm Kevin Walsh. We'll see you again next time on It's Party Time.
You've been listening to It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers, and the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com or call 941-220-4000.
This is Vince Visicaro and Gene Walsh with the suncoastdreams.com real estate team at Fine Properties. We've helped hundreds of families find their dream homes in golf and resort communities in Lakewood Ranch, Bradenton, Sarasota, Parrish, Venice, and the surrounding areas.
Let us be your guides to finding your dream home here as well. Learn more at suncoastdreams.com or call us at 941-220-4000.